Recently, Tortoise Acquisition, soon to be Hyliion, right now trading under SHLL, Shell, made stock news by jumping up pretty substantially the past couple of weeks. Hyliion has had some good news here recently. They got the merger date approaching very, very fast. Some people even say it's going to be as soon as September 15th. What we're going to do today is we're going to examine when you might want to buy, when you might want to sell, even if you're bullish on this for the long term. When should you buy back in if you did decide to sell and you're trying to scalp some of those profits, or you just want to make a little more money and dump right back into Hyliion at a lower price so you have more shares for that long term. What we're going to do is we're going to look at some past EV companies and some other companies that have merged with SPACs. SPACs means Special Purpose Acquisition Company. We're going to review what their share price did as it approached that listing date, and we're going to review what happened to that share price right after they were finally listed and IPO'd. It's without question we are going to continue to see more and more SPACs acquiring companies moving into the future. But we have to be careful with that run up as it gets closer to that merger date. Even famed investor Bill Ackman of Pershing Square is getting in on the popularity of SPACs. Ackman recently announced that Pershing Square Capital Management said that his new Special Purpose Acquisition Company is the most investor-friendly SPAC in the world. Ackman also said the company they acquire is a mature unicorn. Ackman also said this: "I think it's actually a much better process of SPACs versus IPOs. It's much better for the issuer and it's much better for the shareholder because they get to make a thoughtful decision that's not rushed by the typical IPO process." And not to rush you either, but I would really appreciate it if you would heed that same advice and make sure you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Let's start out looking at our old friend nkla. As you can see, nkla had a pretty good run. It was pretty stable there for a while in 2019. And once it started getting close to that merger date, like Hyliion is now, it really started kind of ramping up that share price. And once it was around the late April, early May, about a month out, it really started running up. Hyliion is approximately, probably less than a month out now. And you can see from, that was June 1st, it was at $33.97. They were listed on June 3rd, 2020. And by June 9th, they were hitting around $80. So really quickly that share price went up, but then you can see by June 11th, that price was down $20 per share, which is pretty significant. But I mean, as you can see, it started running right back up, and since it has begun dropping again. It dropped all the way to, I think it's even hit in the 29s. So nkla's got its own set of issues. But point being that you can see they had a run up prior to the listed date. Once it got listed and IPO'd by June 9th, they were hitting their all-time high, and then they started trending downward. So if you look at NEO right here, they were listed on September 12th, 2018. They jump up by the 14th by 65%, and by October 5th they had dropped back down significantly to 626. So right here is Workhorse. They were listed on December 11th, 2015. On that same day, they went from 590 to 935. By January 15th, they have dropped to $4.45. This may not seem like a lot, but when you have a significant amount of shares, that adds up. One associated with Workhorse to keep an eye on, just have on the radar, is Lordstown Motors. They are going to be merging with Diamond Peak Holdings, ticker symbol DPHC. So let's take a look at on the opposite end of that run up. Let's look at a company that as soon as it IPO'd, it just dropped like an anchor. Electromechanica Vehicles, I guess I'm saying that right. Let's just go with the ticker symbol SOLO. So you can see they were listed on July 30th, 2018. They were trending at 635. They had a very, very small run up that day, but then they dropped to 277 by August 10th. So it was around just a little over a week. They had dropped to 277, and by December 14th of 2018, they were trading at $1.07. But this one could be one to keep an eye on that you can still get for a very reasonable amount. Their flagship solo electric vehicle just started getting produced a couple days ago on August 26th. So they're actually manufacturing a car now. If you're one of those investors that are just in for the long term, you pump money in, you forget about it, and you're gonna check on it 20 years from now, and in the process, you're gonna keep on putting more money in. For a long-term context, let's look at when Facebook, everybody loves Facebook. Let's look at when Facebook IPO'd in 2012. The nice thing about looking back on the Facebook IPO is that it provides a longer-term perspective. Facebook's IPO was the most anticipated public offering in the technology sector since Google went public in 2004. Demand for Facebook stock was so high that the company increased both the range of its share price, $28 to $35 to $34 to $38, and number of shares it planned to sell went up by 25% just days before the IPO. These last-minute decisions increased the company's cash receipts an astounding $5 billion or 51% more versus the original plan. So what happened when Facebook IPO'd, if you don't remember? The IPO price was $38 and the stock opened at $42.05. It then trended down, finishing at $38.23, nearly identical to the IPO price. Over the next few weeks and months, Facebook's valuation compressed, and by mid-October, Facebook was trading under $20 a share, a decrease of over 52% versus the open. So all of you long-term investors that don't like the idea of selling, buying, and kind of willing and dealing at the very beginning, hey, no problem. Throw your money in there. If you truly believe in Hyliion, let it ride and just let's see what happens. Could you imagine buying Facebook now for $20 a share? It would be very nice. Facebook, unless you live under a rock in the stock market, has been crushing it this past week. So Facebook is a great example of a company that IPO'd with a lot of hype, dropped down significantly, over 52%, only to recover months after, and look at them now, over $300 per share. That's a pretty good return. As you can see, Tortoise Acquisition has been trending upward as it approaches that merger date. Do I believe Hyliion has the potential to be a leading company in their sector, in their industry? Yes. Do I also believe that share price has the potential to drop off once it is listed and that merger is complete? Yes. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with them as a company and everything to do with the hype surrounding it and people wanting to take their profits out. If history repeats itself, there is a very good possibility that there could be a run-up, then a drop-off not long after it IPOs. Personally, and I am not a financial advisor, I'm just a weirdo on YouTube, but personally what I would do is I would continue to watch that share price run up. I'm probably not going to be a long-term Hyliion investor. I would be more that's just going to scalp some profits from it. But I would watch that run up once it IPOs. As soon as I believe that that share price is trending downwards, or I believe that it has peaked, I'm going to sell out. There is a chance that I could, if it bottoms out enough and drops enough that I think for the long term there could be a lot of profit sitting there, then there is a chance that I would buy back in. Similar to Facebook dropping off 52%, if Hyliion drops off 52%, I will probably buy some more shares and just continue to watch this share price rise over the next coming weeks, months, and years. Unless it runs up and just stabilizes. Do I think that's going to be the case? No, but you never know in this Roni market that is 2020. But if it did do that, I would hold, and I would just at that point I would let it ride. But that's just not the case with most companies, especially EV companies, because they're so freaking volatile right now. I would love to know what you plan on doing in the comments. Let me hear your strategy. Are you gonna sell out now and take some profits? Are you gonna wait till the IPOs to see what happens? Are you going to just sit back, hold on tight, and just ride this crazy EV trend out? But until next time, my name is Adam. Please like the video and subscribe. I hope you stay safe out there and take care.